Hello there. Evening all. Or for some, good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another live stream, Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel. And if you're watching on playback, where were you? It's okay, I understand. As long as you watch. Okay, so coming up tonight, obviously, this day in Elvis history, Elvis photo of the week, poll results. Don't forget you can call me free on Facebook Messenger using the Steve Francis profile with the baby Elvis. Don't forget it's completely free. Don't be shy. I don't bite. Oh man, too much coffee. So, here we are, yet again. It was absolutely pouring down, raining in Ireland. So I hopped on a plane and I thought, what better place to go but Graceland? As you can see, it's overcast, but it's nice. So why not? I can't think of any better place to be honest. Oh, before we go any further, the live picture, Elvis on stage, was provided by Lisa Lauren, that owns the Facebook and runs the Facebook group Elvis Pictures. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for supplying that picture, Lisa. You should check out the group, actually, Elvis Pictures, because she does post some really, really good pictures. I thought I'd drop some of my notes on the floor then, but I haven't. So let's see, Priscilla. I missed the poll this week. Okay, well, I will be showing you the results. Hi, Ludane. I will be reading out some of your comments about the poll. Yes, Maxine, thank you, Maxine, for moderating again this week. She says, hey, Graceland. Me too, Steve. Yes, to be here. Wouldn't it be just lovely if we could all meet up? In fact, I was watching when I'm preparing the show and just doing all the mic tests and levels and so forth, I also keep an eye on the comments coming in, and I saw that some of you girls are actually saying you would love to meet up next year in Graceland, like a girly meetup. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if all of us could meet up en masse? We could all turn up. We could just book a whole room, floor of rooms in the guest house. And we could have ourselves a ball. We really would. Best wishes. Well, I start that again. I think I kind of break these teeth in for the dog sometimes. Best wishes to Angel Baby, and hope that everything turns out okay. And I will be in touch. And you can give me a wee message as well. There's actually Angel Baby now saying hi, Lee. There's Lee Ash, Tina, Mike, all the usual suspects joining me. Tune in on Sunday because we have our final round of Elvis Fan of the Month quiz for October. That was a very fast October, even though there was 5 Sundays in this October. And, I must remember that the clocks move this Sunday as well, so I'll have to adjust the times. It'll probably be an hour. I'm not sure whether it'll be an hour earlier or an hour later for the people in the US. I'll have to kind of work it out. But I know that our clocks go back and yours stay the same for another week. So, but anyway, I'll update you as time goes on. And the actual topic of the quiz for Sunday is blankety blank, or fill in the blank, or Elvis blank. I'm going to read out a line lines from a Elvis song, and when I say blank, you have to put in what the missing word is. And it was actually Danny B-Side's idea. He says, hey, you know what you should do? You should have a fill in the blank for the Elvis quiz. And I thought, what a good idea. I get lots of ideas thrown at me, actually, what I should do, who I should speak to, and so forth. And some of them I actually take up, and one of them was Danny's suggestion. Another thing that cropped up during the week was my pick of the week was Elvis and Dolores Hart, and it got me thinking. I would absolutely love to speak to Dolores. I know she's a nun. She's Sister Dolores now, I believe, and I have been kindly donated her contact details, the actual address of her convent that she's in, and I am going to write a letter to the convent and ask permission for her to talk to me on the telephone. Not just about Elvis, but about the fact that why she became a nun after being in the after being in the sort of the movie industry and starring with Elvis and so forth. I think it would be a very, very interesting call. So hands together to pray that the powers that be would allow Dolores to speak to me. Now, as far as I know, I have seen interviews with Dolores and that documentary that she made, God is Bigger Than Elvis, or A Bigger God Than Elvis. I can't remember exactly what the title is, but you know the one I'm talking about. Wouldn't it be great if we could get her on? And there's a few more other people I would love to get on as well. But don't forget, if you haven't had a chance to listen to the Sam Thompson interviews, there's 2 sections or 2 episodes of Sam, part 1, and then a concluding part as well. And Cynthia Pepper, Barbara Hearn, Ann Moses, they're all on here. I wrote to Dolores a few years ago and she wrote back. She's a very lovely person. Her love story is beautiful and tragic. Yeah. Well, Sheila, I really, really would hope that she would come on. If she doesn't come on, what I might ask her to do would be to send a message to all of us, and I could read out that message. I could ask her what she would like to say and so forth to Elvis fans in 2021 and so forth. But I would like to think that they would allow her to come on and speak. Maybe she doesn't want to. Maybe it's a part of her life now that she doesn't want to talk about anymore. But as you say, she does come across as a lovely lady. And if she did speak to me, I'm almost pretty sure I would again just fall in love, like I did with Barbara Hearn as well. I just at the end I was just completely and utterly besotted with Barbara. Beautiful, beautiful lady, beautiful inside and out. Really is. Right, well, we start on the topic and the poll. And obviously it's part 3. We've done 1935 to 1959. We did 1960 to 1969 on Saturday. I nearly said Sunday then, but it was Saturday because I was away for a few days. And for people asking, yes, thank you. I did have a great time. Very relaxing. You can probably tell I'm a little bit perkier now after my little break. Take your request to interview Dolores Hart to the top guy. Yes, pray is right. That's a very, very good point. She would send a message for sure. She's been in poor health in recent years. Oh no. So many of the Elvis gang, if you like, are suffering now with ill health and also leaving us as well. We're losing them. Ronnie Tutt being the most recent, the great Ronnie Tutt. And Ronnie was actually on my list as ones that I wanted to speak to. Are we going to need any cold showers? Not today, Maxine. No, I'm going to do... I think I have got a pick of the week, but it's not, as far as I remember, a cold shower one. But there will be more cold shower ones coming up, no problem. Nice you have returned to Graceland, Steve. Yes, I must move around a little bit more, actually. I've done Sun, I've done Graceland, I've done Inside Graceland. I must think of somewhere else, unless somebody would like to suggest somewhere for a background. Right, so, yeah. The final part is obviously 1970 to 1977. If time travel was possible, which landmark date between 70 and 77 would you like to visit? And I picked out a few to put on. Don Steve has already interviewed Sally Hodel. Yes, that's right. I have. I Destined to Die Young. There's an interview on this channel with her. In fact, I was one of the very, very first to speak with Sally. So it was in the very, very early days. In fact, I think it was the first interview she'd done for the book. Is James Burton on your list? Yes, he is on my list, but he doesn't really interact on the Facebook profile that I have. So if anybody, that's a good idea, the chapel, yeah. If anybody has really, really good, strong, definite contacts for James Burton or anybody else like that, Jerry Schiff. We've tried Jerry, and again, Jerry isn't really answering his Facebook. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off the track there. Jill, I know it's a terrible thing. Sheila says she did vote, or I did visit June 26th, 1977. Yes, you did. You Sheila saw the 26th. Okay, right. So anyway, I'm getting off the track here. If time travel were possible, which Elvis landmark would you choose to visit 1970 to 1977? And I picked a few to put in the poll, but you could also choose other dates as well. And my suggestions were, That's the Way It Is, period. Summer 1970, sort of. So not just That's the Way It Is, but that sort of period. So, the June, July, August. Can you imagine sitting in on the rehearsals at MGM? Because what we've seen released is hilarious. Some of it, you can see that the fun they were having at MGM during July and early August when he was on stage, just him and the band on the stage of the International, sort of running through a few things. At MGM in July, he busts the seat out of his pants. He gets an electric shock from the mic. That's another funny part. Yeah. Oh yeah, the microphone drooping down when he's doing That's All Right. Falling off the stool. What else? Oh yeah, there's a great. I've mentioned this before. Actually, there's a great sequence. They didn't include it in the finished movie, but they filmed it. Was Elvis having lunch? Elvis eating. And if you ever get a chance to see that, look at it on YouTube. It's great. Hanging out backstage. What about hanging out backstage when he was reading the telegrams? Again, we've only seen BP Monkman. Hello, Mr. Steve Francis. Hello, BP Monkman. Shoots the Hollywood camera. That's another one. Yeah. With the guitar. Yeah. I would imagine there's just unbelievable amount of funny stuff that went on at those rehearsals. There's the one as well where they're in some sort of ballroom as well in the International Hotel, and he's doing bridge. And he also does, he yodels a bit, doesn't he? It's just so much fun. Yeah, hanging out backstage, that was another one. How about being at the opening night after show party? That was filmed by the MGM cameras as well, and we've seen that. Again, he's going around kissing all the girls, and he's laughing with Sammy Davis Jr., Cary Grant. Then I picked Madison Square Garden concerts, June 1972. The press conference. He looked absolutely wonderful in that press conference. And the girl shouting out, "I love you, Elvis." And he shouts back, "I love you too." Yeah. All four shows. You could have traveled to all four shows and seen them. Can you imagine seeing all 4 shows? I'm sure somebody had tickets for all 4 shows, but can you imagine you traveling back and seeing all 4 shows? Then next was Aloha from Hawaii, January 1973. In and around that time frame, not just the actual satellite show itself, seeing him arrive by helicopter. We've seen that on the special DVD set. It was kind of staged for the opening sequence, so forth, for the show. He didn't really fly all the way from Los Angeles to Hawaii on the helicopter. He just flew from his hotel and made it look like that. But can you imagine being amongst them and seeing him arrive? Again, the rehearsals. There were rehearsals for Aloha from Hawaii. They weren't filmed, alas, but you could have maybe snuck in and watched him do that. The show themselves, of course. And because with hindsight that we know what happened during the concerts, you could have, when he was in a particular place and coming down towards the stage, you could have got yourself in a prime position to get the belt or the cape. Just think of that. What else have I got? The Memphis concerts. Yeah, I'll be interested to see now actually how many votes the Memphis concerts got, because he was there a couple of times in 1974 in March. Obviously, they recorded the 21st, I believe. That was what made the live album. But he was there a week beforehand as well, probably just checking it out and making sure that the sound was going to be okay for the live album. They were high energy. The high energy of the hometown audience. You can pick this up from the live album. It's just full. It's fully charged, and the audience are at full voice. In fact, there's a part there where he says that she's louder than I am when I get the microphone warmed. When he's doing the well, when he's doing that, and you can hear a fan screaming at the top of her lungs. It just would have been a really, really nice time to visit in our time machine. Having the concert you attended professionally recorded as well, so you could travel to March the 21st, and then you could obviously know that you were there. You could shout something as well while you were there, and hopefully it'd come out on the soundtrack. This was a difficult one to include in the poll, but I included it. If you could travel to a landmark date, what about Indianapolis, June 26th, 1977? This is a toughie, as we all know what happened a short while later. But did anybody vote for that? And did they give their reasons why they wanted to visit the date of his very, very final concert? And hi, Gracie. Any shows at the Las Vegas Hilton Hotel I would go back in time for, from 1969 to 1976. So that's a good comment, Don. I also had in Philadelphia and went to that concert. Also went to Las Vegas in 75. Yeah, we'd love to hear about that, Angel. If you ever do want to maybe ring in one show and be my special guest, you can compose yourself and maybe make a few little notes if you want. I love the show where the microphone wasn't working and he grabbed all the mics. I cracked up when he did that. Yes, Ronald, that's the way it is. Yeah, he was trying to get a very, very early prototype cordless microphone to work, and when it wouldn't work, he went over and he actually grabbed all the microphones. Hey, we have a caller. Hi, who's calling the Elvis Ultimate Fan Channel?
Hi, Steve. It's Mark.
Hiya, Mark. How are you doing?
Fine. I'm all right, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I had a break there, and I feel rejuvenated now.
Yeah, you're doing well. You're looking good.
Thanks very much. So, do you want to talk about the poll or something else?
Yeah. To talk about the poll, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, well, the 70s is so hard. It's so hard to choose, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think for me, I would pick Madison Square Garden because I think them 4 shows he did were electrifying.
Mm.
I just thought he was on top of his game and the ultimate showman then before, obviously, he did Elvis on tour. But I just think he was amazing in them 4 shows.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people cite 1973, Aloha from Hawaii, as the peak of the 70s. But I do.
Yeah.
I actually tend to disagree. I don't think, as a whole, it was as good as not audience, a good a concert as the Madison Square Garden ones.
No. I think in Madison Square Garden he moved a lot more, didn't he? The moves were there. The vocal was fantastic. It was the all-round entertainment. I think in Aloha from Hawaii it was a great show, but he had a certain time, didn't he? An hour spot, to get all the songs in.
Yeah.
Didn't say much, did the odd thing, but don't get me wrong, it's a great show and I love it. But
well, you see,
Madison Square Garden to me was the best one, really.
Back then, I think, not now, they just have the satellite for as long as you want and then they bill you. But I think in those days you had an hour and that was it. After the hour, your feed was lost. So he was on a very, very tight schedule. And of course, he would have been very nervous as well, knowing how many people would be watching.
Yeah.
But I thought...
I always think...
Yeah, go on.
I always think the rehearsal show was better than the actual main show. I do. I always thought Elvis was a bit looser in the rehearsal show.
Yeah, that was taped as a safety in case things went wrong during broadcast night.
Yeah.
I also think that the audience was quieter in Aloha from Hawaii.
Yeah.
More subdued.
Yeah, you can tell on the records of obviously Madison Square Garden. The reaction when he came out, the fans were just, you can hear it on the record. Yeah. And obviously, some of that footage we saw from the Prince from the Other Planet, fantastic, wasn't it? That 8 mil stuff of Elvis. I just think he was, Elvis, that's the way it is, will always probably be the pinnacle. But I just think as a showman, starting the ultimate, I think, 72 he did. He did some great shows, didn't he? I thought 72.
Yeah. Boston Garden was another one, actually.
Yeah.
Pity that wasn't filmed.
Yeah.
It was taped. No. It was taped, but it wasn't filmed. It's just funny when you say about you can hear the scream when he comes out on stage. Whenever I'm listening to an Elvis concert and you hear that scream when he walks out, the hairs on the back of my neck always stick up.
Yeah. It's amazing. It is good. You get a lot of them from the 69 stuff as well. You could hear the Vegas crowd screaming from that stuff as well. Yeah, it's really good. But as you say, I think the Aloha from Hawaii was a bit quiet and he did a great job. He looked brilliant. He looked tan, looked slim, he looked great. He looked better probably in 73 there than he slightly did in 72. But I think his weight was up and down a little bit then, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, big difference in his appearance between the rehearsal show and the actual broadcast show, and we know why that was, wasn't it? He had a haircut between the two.
Haircut, he didn't like his hair, did he?
No. He said as soon as he saw the tape back, he says, I need a haircut.
Get Larry to cut his hair for him.
Yeah, it was actually Patty Parry that he flew in, actually, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was, yeah. Right. Yeah, you're right, yeah, definitely.
All righty.
That's great.
That's great. Okay. Thanks for calling. Steve. All right, thanks a lot.
No problem. Keep the good work up.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah, I always point out to people, you can tell quite easily which is the rehearsal show and which is the broadcast show just by his appearance. His hair was extremely long. And no more so than when the sequence when he's arriving on the helicopter and the wind is blowing, because there's always trade winds in Hawaii. It's a kind of a windy set of islands, and but he obviously didn't realize until he saw the playback. Hello, Maxine.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for moderating, as always.
No, that's all right.
So what do you think?
I think all of them are good, but I enjoyed the That's the Way It Is one.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, I know. When he does the little thing with the guitar, the miniature guitar, and he says, that's actually this guitar. And yeah, he's having such a great time. Somebody else mentioned about when he was trying out the cordless microphone and it's not working, so he gets all the microphones and he adds about 4 or 5. And then also he scares the backing singers, and there's just so much. There's just so much. But you know what me and Danny were talking about the other day, and a lot of people, we've mentioned this before, one of the outtakes is when that lady Bohiga asks him to sign the picture, and he says it looks like Engelbert Humperdinck. And then she says, do you like it? And he says, yeah, it's lovely. And then she says something, and it's not caught on the soundtrack, and the microphone doesn't pick it up. And he says, no, I can't do that. He says it quite abruptly as well, and we don't know what he said, unfortunately. Ooh. And for 51 years, we've been trying to figure out what he says, and I don't know. Yeah, very strange.
I'll have to watch it and find.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you can put headphones on, you can turn it up, you can slow it down, and I just, unfortunately, and also Elvis at the moment that she asked the question, he kind of rustles the microphone as well, so it kind of covers what she says. But I mean, people have said, can I have your room number, or can you sing me a song? I wouldn't have thought it would have been sing a song, because he would sometimes say, yeah, I'll sing the next song for you, or something like that. But he was quite abrupt with her, so I would imagine. And don't forget, Priscilla probably would have been at some of those shows. So, and somebody else said to me, she probably said, will you marry me? But if she'd have said that, I think he would have laughed. He wouldn't have been abrupt with her. So,
no, I think it could have been something a bit inappropriate, maybe.
Yes, yeah.
Abrupt.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, it's been driving me mad for 51 years anyway.
Oh, no. Well, I'll have to find her and see what she said.
Yeah, well, that would be the only thing now. And I was saying to Danny, well, maybe even after all this time, she can't remember what she asked him, because it was such a fleeting moment.
That's true.
And of course, she might have passed on as well, because I'm only guessing, Miss Bohiga would probably be in her 70s or 80s now, And
wow.
And she might not even be Bohiga now.
Oh, no, bless her.
But if anybody's watching this and you know Miss Bohiga, please ask her to get in touch. All right, Maxine. Thanks a lot.
What about the 77 show? What would you do?
If Indianapolis?
Yeah, the last sort of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that I would pick that as a destination. If I could pick it in the 70s, I'll tell you at the end actually which one I chose, but it wasn't Indianapolis. I mean, he was on really, really good form that night. He was on for a lot longer than he normally would be. He looked better than what he did in Omaha and Rapid City. Because I think they overdid the makeup on. He actually mentioned it, didn't he? That he doesn't normally wear makeup on stage.
He does, yeah.
And it's just a pity that wasn't professionally filmed. I mean, we do have amateur footage of it, apparently it was a really, really good show, and it's a pity that
I've heard that
it didn't. CBS weren't there. Well, the cameras were there, but they weren't allowed inside, unfortunately, because they filmed him arriving at the airport. They filmed him with Todd Slaughter, the head of the English fan club.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Well, I think it was something to do with insurance or clearance or something like that. So they couldn't get in the building. They couldn't get in the Market Square Arena. So it's another missed opportunity. But there you are.
It is. Do you think that they should release all of the footage from the MGM ones and put it into a new movie?
Oh my goodness, yes, without a doubt. What are they waiting for? Well, I know they're not actually waiting for anything. It's all legal and red tape and different companies and you can't do this and you can't do that. But yes, before it's too late, because there'll only be a market for it for another few more years anyway. And if they don't do it now, it'll be too late. And apparently there's so much in the can. So there's hours and hours and hours.
Amazing.
I mean, there's even, Jerry Schilling has mentioned concerts that people didn't think were filmed that were filmed. I actually spoke to I think it was Kevin Higgins on here, who runs a Facebook group called Release the Elvis on Tour footage, and me and him went into it in detail about all the footage that must be available. And just
how amazing would it be?
I mean, the actual Elvis on Tour needs a revamp and a recut anyway. They need to tighten it. They need to tighten it up. They need to cut out some of the dead wood. I've said this before. As much as I love the old fella telling us where he comes in and all this and all that, and it's touching how much he thinks of Elvis, he would have to go. Unfortunately, he would be on the cutting room floor if I was editing it. I wouldn't be showing the Coke machines and the popcorn machines and things like that either. I would want more Elvis. Elvis on stage, Elvis in the studio. That's what we need. Elvis, Elvis, Elvis. That's what we need. Because there's a lot more of the March 1972 recording sessions as well. You know, we see we see a little bit of Separate Ways, don't we? But we know that there's sort of Burning Love, and there's Always on My Mind. There's loads of it. And that's what we want.
That would just be incredible.
But the sound needs to be remastered. The picture needs to be remastered as well, and all that sort of stuff. So just do it. And do it now.
Exactly.
And worry about all the legalities and everything after. I mean, not being smart. It will make a lot of money as well for them.
It would.
You know, I don't know. Somebody says, what did Elvis say, bring on the lip readers? Well, it's not what Elvis said, actually. It's what Mrs. Bohiga said. That's what we want to know. Somebody's just commented.
I know.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's something inappropriate that she said.
Because I do as well, because he was quite abrupt. You know yourself, Elvis is normally fairly good-natured and quite sort of happy-go-lucky and sort of kidding with the fans. But I agree with you. I mean, it probably was something just a little bit too much, because his attitude changed quite abruptly, and that's unusual for Elvis. Well, it was unusual for Elvis in 1970. He did get a little bit naughty as time went on in the 70s. He actually told one fan to F themselves, but he was only joking. He was only joking, because one lady shouted out, "I love you, Elvis," and a man shouted out, "I hate you, Elvis." And he said, "You," and then he apologized afterwards. Says, "I'm only kidding," and laughed. But he wouldn't have
wouldn't have wanted to be on that.
He wouldn't have said that in 19. He wouldn't have said "F you" in 1970 anyway.
No, he wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't have wanted to be on the anger side of him, though.
No, well, I mean, we have him on tape as far back as 1962 saying that he doesn't get angry very often, but when he does get angry, it's not very nice. It's that 1962 interview on the film set that Lloyd Shearer did. So, yeah, he did have a temper, but then again, most people have a point, and once they cross that point, they lose their temper, and Elvis was no different.
Oh, definitely not.
Okay.
All right, Steve.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later,
cheers,
mate.
Maxine.
Bye.
Bye. That was a fabulous call from Maxine. Brilliant. Yes, Bohiga. Oh, another one I meant to mention actually is Al Strada. I would love to speak to Al Strada, but Al has completely and utterly pulled away from the Elvis world, and he will not speak about Elvis because it upsets him to this day. So Al would be on my list, but I don't think Al is actually talking to people about Elvis at the moment. A little drink. Will I do the poll? And then I'll read out some of your comments on the poll. And then coming up as well. Aha! No, I won't do the poll. I'll keep you in suspense a little longer. Hello, Jeanette.
Well, hello, Steve.
Fancy seeing you here.
Yeah, I've just been listening to everybody's calls and reading the comments.
Yeah.
It's another good show today.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting decade to choose, I think. As somebody said, it's quite difficult to pick because there were so many highlights in the 70s, I think.
Right. Your polls are always difficult anyway, but it's hard to pick a favorite anything really when it comes to Elvis because, his entire career, I think, in my opinion, was terrific. So it's hard to pinpoint just one song or one movie or one decade. Yeah.
But I think you commented actually. I think I have one of your comments to read out. Maybe I didn't pick one of your comments. I did. I know. I know what you said. Will I read out your comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, finally, a poll that I had no trouble answering. That's the way it is was my vote, followed by Aloha. To be one of the lucky ladies sitting in the front row. Yes.
Yeah, and I stand by my statement. Yeah.
Your Honor. Yeah, now, the thing is with hindsight, you'd know when he was coming to the edge of the stage, which song he was singing when he came to the edge of the stage. So you could be one of those ladies in the front row.
Oh, that would have been fantastic. But when I'm thinking about That's the Way It Is,
yeah,
during Love Me Tender, hello, I don't care how many mouths he was smooching on. I just wanted to be one of those ladies that got the kiss. And I could just envision myself even just running up to the front. If I was towards the back, I'd be running. I'd be pushing people out of the way. I mean, it would be very inappropriate, I think, nowadays for any entertainer to do it. I don't know. Would Elvis have still gotten away with that if he lived, longer?
Well, one of the things I've noticed about the Elvis concerts and the concerts of today is some of the stages that Elvis had were quite low.
Right.
I mean, if you stood at the stage would only be up to sort of your chest height. I mean, stages are a lot higher these days, and the Vegas stage was very low anyway because it was just a showroom. It wasn't actually a concert hall.
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, nowadays you go to a concert and they feel so out of reach, unless the seating is up close, you can reach out and grab their hand. But I think when Barbra Streisand, didn't she do the Hilton before Elvis, right? Like in the beginning of the year?
She actually opened the showroom. They wanted they wanted Elvis to open the showroom, and Colonel was very, very. It was a sensible decision. He says, "No, we'll come after Barbara," and he was right because there was a lot of sound issues and technical issues, and they were ironed out during Barbara's. Engagement, and by the time Elvis went in, they'd all been ironed out. So yeah, it was a very sensible decision by the Colonel.
I mean, there are two different types of shows. You have Barbra Streisand, where she even sits on a bar stool, for some of her songs, and then here comes Elvis, and the lighting is different, and the sound is different, and his movements, everything is just so spontaneous and unpredictable. And that's why I love watching that movie. I can watch that movie time and time again, and it still makes me laugh, and it still makes me rewind certain songs. But like I told you before, I like to look at things like facial expressions and gestures. So when they're doing Heartbreak, the tempo has been more tempo.
Yeah.
And when Ronnie Tutt is doing his little thing, and then Elvis is reaching his arms out, it's really sexy. I'm going to say it's just really, really sexy. And then my other favorite, The Wonder of You, when there's that little musical break and James Burton is doing his thing and Elvis is totally staring at him, watching his fingers just play.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, and that's why I'm thinking, well, if you want to watch a concert where they have that image that we were talking about, you had one show about that. That's what I'm saying. It would be so different to go and watch a concert where they have this hologram. And then I compare it to, well, I want it to be like this. I would have rather have seen him live.
Yeah.
It's just a whole different vibe, different energy. But yeah, he is so spontaneous, and you could sense his love for the fans. And Aloha would have been great too. But I just think, man, when he came out in 1970, and that was like his big return to touring, he's so physically fit, beautifully tanned. Mm-hmm. I mean, he just looks wonderful. I don't know. His voice, I think, was still at his peak, maybe in the 60s for me. That's just my opinion. But he just looked and sounded marvelous, I think, at the beginning in the 70s.
They left so much out of That's the Way It Is as well. There's a great performance where he does Make the World Go Away with a red ladder suit. I featured that a few times.
That's right.
And I that should have been that should have made the movie the first time round. It was absolutely brilliant.
They had two versions of the movie, did they not, Steve?
Yeah, they did a recut in 2001. But they left out, did they leave out Bridge Over Troubled Water or something? And I just can't help believing.
Agreed.
Yeah. They need to make a 4-hour movie of That's the Way It Is and put it all in.
Oh, I would watch it.
You know the bit where he walks through the audience. I'm wondering, is he the first person to do that? I wouldn't be surprised. He did so many firsts. Elvis did so many firsts. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the first entertainer to walk through the audience like he did.
I would have to say he was. And I don't think many entertainers do that now. I mean, I've been to a couple of concerts where they have them hoisted up on some crane or something, and they go and they shake the audience's hand. I don't know if maybe some other artists, maybe a Garth Brooks or somebody did that, but Elvis had to have been the first. But I wanted to ask you before I hang up here, would you have liked to have seen this movie as just a continuous performance, or are you okay with them cutting and piecing together different performances from different nights?
Well, I definitely think that the 2001 version was better than the 1971. The 1971 was a bit of a mishmash at times, they were kind of, but I wouldn't have liked to have seen just him coming on and doing the show and going off again. I like the way we see the progression of the rehearsals and all this and all that. So no, I would not have liked just a concert.
I agree. I like that. I love the whole thing, and it's hilarious. It's funny. Yeah, I just love it all. But good topic as always.
Thanks.
And hi, friends. Everybody, take care of yourselves. And I'm glad you had a good time on vacation.
Thanks very much for ringing in. It's always a pleasure to speak to you, Jeanette. It really is.
Likewise, Steve. Okay. All right. Have a good evening. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. What a fabulous call. What a fabulous call. She always makes a great point, and she always talks very eloquently. Great. Right, yeah, I was going to show you the poll, and then I was going to read some comments. And here we go, the poll. My goodness. That's the way it is, period. 1970. Half the votes. I'm surprised that the Memphis concerts didn't get more. Indianapolis got 8%. Madison Square Garden, 14%. Aloha from Hawaii, 25%. Yeah. And my choice was, that's Madison Square Garden. Believe it or not. I just thought there was something about the 1972 concert in Madison Square Garden. So if somebody said, here's a time machine, you can only go back to one landmark place in the 1970s. Which is it? It'll be Madison Square Garden. Right, Mark says, That's the Way It Is one of my favourite periods of Elvis. Great voice, performance and songs. If I had to pick one from your series, Steve, if time travel was possible, I'd choose Aloha. Okay. I thought he was going to say That's the Way It Is then. Elvis at his best in these historic concerts and a milestone in his career. Indianapolis also great, but also sad for his fans to see our idol in such poor health. Gold Dredgewater. The concerts at Madison Square Garden were great. Elvis never sounded better and the audience went crazy. Yeah. The TCB band rocked the garden. Lots of electricity in the building. Way better than Aloha from Hawaii. Way better? Okay, way better. Priam says, I would love to watch him live at Madison Square Garden, but how about being there as an interviewer in that famous interview before the concert? Yeah, imagine being able to shout out a couple of questions during that. He was in great form that afternoon. Lee Earnshaw, Steve, I always would have liked to have seen him in Vegas, intimate setting, probably 1975, as I felt he gave a final push that year with costume changes and a set list change. Looked very well most of the year and sounded great. Jeanette, I've actually read out Jeanette's comment. I'll read it again, why not? Finally, a poll that I had no trouble answering, but she does say they are difficult. That's the way it is with my vote, followed by Aloha from Hawaii. I had to be one lucky lady sitting on the front row. Richard Grattan says, I voted for That's the Way It Is, period. He was in great shape, at the top of his game, plus I was born in August 1970. There you go. Benjamin S. says 1977 and trying to save his life somehow. It's quite a sad one. Bossa Nova Baby says Madison Square Garden for me, and I would take better quality footage and sound. Great idea. And Jill, hi Jill Brett, I would have to... Yeah, I picked this one to finish with because I thought it was quite funny. It would have to be his bedroom, preferably with him in it, but as that option isn't there, I would choose Aloha. So Jill would travel back in time and go up to his bedroom. Very good. Very good. I'm going to do this day in Elvis history, 27th of October. And I do have some pictures. Do you know, I've done it again, haven't I? When I was talking about the options, I should have been showing pictures. And of course, the options were, that's the way it is. Look how fabulous he looks there. Madison Square Garden. This was the actual press conference with the flowery shirt and the blue jacket. And he looked absolutely phenomenal. He has a lot better colour there in June 1972 than he did in Elvis on Tour. And he'd been to Hawaii. He went to Hawaii between Elvis on Tour and Madison Square Garden to get a bit of colour. Look at that. Look at that first smile. Man, oh man, look at that first smile. Great. And then Aloha, of course. We obviously we know how brilliant he looked at Aloha. Even Charlie's laughing there. He knows how great Elvis is hitting that note. Hang loose. Then, of course, we had 77. These are some shots from the TV special. Looks fine. He's just about to go off there. He kind of always did that kind of sideways motion near the end of the show. It's a few more coming up as well. I think the sundial suit was quite a hot and heavy suit. That's a good one from the side of the stage. That's almost like an audience eye view. There he is hitting a high note, probably Hurt or How Great Thou Art, or even Can't Help Falling in Love, maybe. That was Indianapolis. That one. That's a good shot as well. I think we're back round to the start now after. No, a few more. That lady at the bottom there is obviously very happy. I'd say she's just got a scarf. That's a great view as well. Larry London on the drums because Ronnie Tutt had to leave after Rapid City, I believe. That's definitely Larry London anyway, not Ronnie. So that would be Indianapolis, I believe. Okay, and just to refresh, the poll was 50%. That's the way it is. Period. Around about that time, people would travel back to. That's that one there. I'm going to do This Day in Elvis History with photographs. 1955, 27th of October, Elvis performed at the National Guard Armory, Jackson, Alabama, while Bob Neal learned for the first time that Colonel Parker was in the middle of selling Elvis's contract. Neal demanded a meeting between himself and the Colonel to get things clear. 1957, yeah, guess what? Elvis performed at the Oakland Auditorium, Oakland, California. And there's a lovely action shot of Elvis. 1961, Elvis had a recording session for Kid Galahad at Radio Recorders from 4 until 8 p.m. He recorded I Got Lucky, different versions of I Got Lucky. This Is Living and King of the Whole Wide World. And there's a beautiful shot of him and the lovely Joan Blackman. Great fight scenes in that. Great movie. Kid Galahad, great movie. Good Elvis movie. Then we have 1975, Elvis went to the movies at Crosstown Theatre and kept on doing that for at least 2 weeks. In this day and 2 weeks. 1975. 1976, I've got some more slides for you. Unfortunately, they're quite far away, but it gives you a good idea of what it would have been like to be sort of a little bit away from the stage when you were at an Elvis concert. This is at the Southern Illinois University Arena, Carbondale, Illinois. The tour brought in $1,005,000 in profits, which was still divided by 2/3, 1/3 with the Colonel. And some great shots there. Coming up in a minute is Pick of the Week. I'll just let this play through. That's actually, Elvis isn't on the stage there. That's the Supremes. Supremes. He'd say the Supremes. Yeah. Sweet Inspirations. Warming up the group. Warming up the audience. Okay, so we have Pick of the Week. And it is this one. And I just particularly like the pose on that and the way he has his head on the side. And I love the lighting. I love the way half his face is in dark shadow and the other half is in the spotlight. So that's 1956, Elvis on stage. And he was kind of a good-looking fellow, wasn't he? That's for sure. Now let's see. I know let's see some comments. He was trained by Mushy Callahan for Kid Galahad. Yes. Elvis was the most handsome man on the planet. Yes. Beautiful. I think she's beautiful. We're talking obviously about Joan Blackman. What does everybody think? Edwidge says, wow. Jeanette says, oh, that is hot. Yeah, and his face, yeah, he's kind of, yeah. JC22 says, great pick. Hi, Chris. Chris obviously says, gorgeous. I've never seen that picture before. Well, Dawn, I am very, very glad about that I brought that to you. I really am. Yeah, he's got a kind of a funny, goofy sort of look on his face there. I mean, fair play to the photographer. He's just caught it just at the right second there. The guitar he had on that pick was quite unusual. It's cool. Yeah, I think that is a leather case that goes over it. In fact, I know if you look, you can see the shadow. You can see that it's covering the actual guitar itself. It was to protect it. So that's my pick of the week. And as I said, coming up on Sunday, we've got the final part of the Elvis Fan of the Month quiz, and it's blankety blank, or fill in the blank, which should be a lot of fun. So thanks for joining me again today. I've really enjoyed it. You can probably tell. And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed doing it. I hope you can join me live at the same time on Sunday. Although actually it won't be the same time because the clocks change, but I'll update the times for you. We'll have this day in Elvis history, Elvis song of the week and photo of the week. Another poll for you. I'll have to think of another poll question and try and make it hard so we can discuss it on Sunday. So until Sunday, look after yourselves. If you do want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee using the link below. Thanks for all the listeners and thanks for all the people that called in, and take care of yourself until Sunday.